The door slammed shut with a finality that echoed through the quiet suburban street in suburban Chicago, leaving Bruno standing alone on the porch with nothing but a backpack and the sting of his father's words ringing in his ears. "You're no son of mine," his dad had snarled, while his twin brother, Ethan, watched from inside, wrapped in their mother's arms, tears streaming down his face but safe in the warmth of acceptance. In that shattering moment, the brothers who had shared everything, from womb to secrets, were torn apart by the very truth they had confessed together. They were both gay. Bruno trudged down the driveway, his heart pounding like a drum in a silent march. The autumn leaves crunched under his sneakers, each step a reminder of the life he was leaving behind. He and Ethan had planned this for months, rehearsing their coming-out speech in whispers late at night, convinced that unity would shield them from the storm. But unity shattered when their parents' reactions diverged like fault lines in an earthquake. Their father, a stern accountant who prized reputation above all, exploded at Bruno's revelation, accusing him of being the instigator, the one who had corrupted Ethan. Their mother, softer but conflicted, pulled Ethan close, murmuring that she always knew about him, her gentle boy. But Bruno? He was the wild one, the troublemaker who played sports aggressively and challenged authority. How could the same confession yield such different verdicts? By the time Bruno reached the bus stop, the reality sank in like cold rain. He had no money, no plan, just a phone with a dying battery and a few contacts from high school. Ethan had texted frantically, "I'm sorry, Bruno. I'll fix this. Stay safe." But how could he fix a family's fractured foundation? Bruno boarded the bus to downtown Chicago, the city lights blurring through the window as he fought back sobs. He thought of their childhood, inseparable twins who mirrored each other in looks but diverged in personality. Ethan the artist, sensitive and introspective. Bruno the athlete, bold and outspoken. They discovered their shared orientation in sophomore year, confiding in each other during a family vacation to Lake Michigan, where stolen glances at lifeguards turned into deep conversations under the stars. That bond had been their anchor, but now it felt like a chain pulling Bruno under. He crashed at a friend's couch that night, a guy from the soccer team who didn't ask too many questions. Lying awake, Bruno replayed the scene. The dinner table confession, hands clasped under the table for support. "Mom, Dad, we're gay," they said in unison. The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by their father's chair scraping back as he stood, face red with rage. "Ethan, is this true?" he demanded, as if Bruno's words were tainted. Ethan nodded, trembling, and that's when the hug came. For him. Bruno got a shove toward the door, orders to pack and leave before he ruined the family more. The next morning, Bruno woke to a barrage of missed calls from Ethan. "Dad's cooling down," the voicemail said. "Come back." But Bruno knew better. The damage was done. He needed a job, fast. Wandering the streets, he applied at a coffee shop in Wrigleyville, lying about his age to seem more independent. The manager, a kind woman named Maria, hired him on the spot, sensing his desperation. "Kid, you look like you've been through hell," she said. Bruno forced a smile, but inside, the conflict raged. Was he angry at Ethan for being the good twin, or at himself for not hiding longer? Meanwhile, back home, Ethan paced his room, guilt gnawing at him like a persistent ache. He had always been the peacemaker, the one who smoothed over Bruno's rebellions. Now he felt like a traitor for accepting the hug while Bruno was cast out. Their mother tried to console him. "Your brother will come around. He's just dramatic." But Ethan knew it wasn't drama. It was discrimination, plain and simple. Why did their parents see him as redeemable and Bruno as disposable? Was it because Ethan fit the stereotype, quiet, artistic, while Bruno challenged it with his masculinity? Ethan decided to act. He slipped out after dinner, taking the train to the city, searching for Bruno based on vague texts. The streets were alive with Friday night energy, couples holding hands without fear, a stark contrast to their conservative suburb. He found Bruno at the coffee shop, mopping floors after closing. "Bro," Ethan whispered, pulling him into a hug. Bruno stiffened at first, then melted, the brothers clinging like lifelines. They talked for hours in a nearby park, under the glow of street lamps. Bruno vented his fury. "They chose you because you're the easy one to love." Ethan countered, "No, it's because they think I'm fixable. Dad mentioned therapy for me like it's a phase." The conversation unearthed deeper wounds, the subtle favoritism growing up, how Bruno's assertiveness was punished while Ethan's passivity was praised. But beneath the pain, their love as brothers, and perhaps something more confusing, simmered. Wait. No, they were twins, but the intensity of their bond sometimes blurred lines, though neither dared voice it. As dawn broke, Ethan promised to fight for Bruno's return. "We'll face them together again." Bruno nodded, hope flickering, but doubt lingered. What if fighting meant losing everything? The brothers parted with a plan, unaware that their decisions would ignite a chain of betrayals and awakenings that would test every fiber of their being. Bruno wiped down the counters at the coffee shop, the scent of fresh brew masking the exhaustion etched into his face. 2 weeks had passed since the expulsion, and survival mode had kicked in. He rented a dingy room above a bar in Boys Town, Chicago's vibrant gay neighborhood, using his meager wages. The area pulsed with life, rainbow flags waving proudly, men holding hands openly, but it felt like a foreign land to Bruno, who had hidden his identity for so long. Ethan visited often, smuggling food and clothes from home, their secret meetings charged with urgency. One evening, as they sat on Bruno's lumpy bed, Ethan dropped a bomb. "Dad's talking to a pastor about guidance for me. Mom agrees, thinks it's for the best." Bruno's jaw tightened. "Guidance? That's code for conversion therapy. You can't go." Ethan shifted uncomfortably, eyes downcast. "I have to pretend, at least, to buy time for you." The words hung heavy, a moral quandary that pitted self-preservation against integrity. Bruno argued fiercely. "Pretending means betraying yourself and me." But Ethan, ever the diplomat, saw it as a strategy. "If I play along, maybe I can convince them to let you back." The conflict escalated when Ethan met someone at school. His name was Jamie, a senior with a warm smile and an openly gay family. They bonded over art class, Jamie's confidence a beacon for Ethan's uncertainty. One afternoon, Ethan confessed to Bruno over cheap pizza. "I like him. A lot." Bruno felt a pang, jealousy, protectiveness. "Be careful. Our family's watching." But Ethan, tasting freedom through Jamie, pursued it. Their first date a stolen walk along the lakefront, hands brushing tentatively. Back home, the pressure mounted. Their father, Mr. Harlan, a pillar in their church community, couldn't fathom 2 gay sons tarnishing his image. He cornered Ethan one night. "Your brother's influence is toxic. Cut ties or face consequences." Ethan feigned agreement, but inside, rebellion brewed. He started sneaking out more, meeting Jamie in secret, the thrill of young love clashing with familial duty. Bruno, meanwhile, navigated his own turmoil. At the coffee shop, he befriended a coworker named Marcus, a 25-year-old barista who had been disowned years ago. Marcus's stories of resilience inspired Bruno, but also highlighted the long road ahead. "Family isn't always blood," Marcus said, his eyes kind. Bruno nodded, but the ache for home persisted. One night, after a grueling shift, Marcus invited him to a support group for LGBTQ youth. Reluctant at first, Bruno went, surrounded by stories of rejection and triumph. It was there he met Liam, a quiet volunteer with a gentle demeanor that reminded him of Ethan. Liam's presence stirred something in Bruno, a tentative attraction, the first since coming out. They talked after the meeting, Liam sharing his own coming-out story, accepted by progressive parents in the city. "You're brave for surviving this," Liam said. Bruno blushed and used to praise, but as they exchanged numbers, Guilt crept in. Was pursuing this a betrayal of Ethan, who was fighting on the home front? The brothers' paths diverged further when Ethan decided to come clean to Jamie about the family drama. Over coffee, Jamie listened, then urged action. "You can't live a lie. Stand up for Bruno." Inspired, Ethan confronted their parents that weekend. "If Bruno can't come home, neither will I stay silent." The argument exploded: shouts, tears, their mother pleading for peace. Mr. Harlan issued an ultimatum: "Choose your path, son. Us or him." Ethan chose defiance, packing a bag and joining Bruno in the city. The twins reunited in the small room, relief washing over them like a wave. But the high was short-lived. Their parents cut off Ethan's phone, froze his accounts, leaving them both scrambling. Bruno's job barely covered rent. Ethan hustled for odd gigs, painting murals for cash. As they adapted, romance complicated matters. Ethan's relationship with Jamie deepened, stolen kisses in alleys, but jealousy from Bruno surfaced during a heated argument. "You're out here playing house while I fight to survive?" Bruno yelled. Ethan shot back, "I'm fighting too. For us." The outburst revealed unspoken tensions. Their twin bond, once pure, now strained by individual desires. Liam entered the picture more, inviting Bruno on a date to a rooftop bar overlooking the skyline. Under twinkling lights, they shared stories, Liam's hand on Bruno's a tentative bridge to healing. But Bruno pulled back. "My life's a mess. Family first." Liam understood, but the seed was planted. Society's gaze added layers. In Boys Town, they faced acceptance, but venturing out brought stares, whispers, reminders of the world's prejudices. A church group protested nearby, signs blaring, "Sin no more," triggering Ethan's doubts. "What if they're right?" he whispered one night. Bruno hugged him. "They're not. Love isn't wrong." The climax loomed when Mr. Harlan showed up at the coffee shop, demanding to see Bruno. "We need to talk," he said, face etched with regret or resolve. Bruno braced for confrontation, the air thick with unspoken accusations. Mr. Harlan stood rigid in the coffee shop doorway, his suit impeccable amid the casual bustle, eyes scanning for Bruno like a hawk. Bruno froze behind the counter, heart racing as customers oblivious to the drama sipped their lattes. "Dad," he muttered, signaling Maria to cover. They stepped outside, the Chicago wind whipping around them, carrying the weight of unspoken years. "I didn't come to fight," Mr. Harlan began, voice strained. "Your mother, she's not well. The stress." Bruno's resolve cracked slightly. Mom had always been the buffer. "What do you want?" he asked. The answer stunned him. "Come home, but on terms." Terms meant therapy, denial, a facade for the neighbors. Bruno laughed bitterly. "You mean pretend I'm straight? No thanks." Mr. Harlan pressed. "For Ethan. He's spiraling without structure." The mention of Ethan ignited Bruno's fury. "You drove him away too." But deep down, doubt crept in. Was he dragging Ethan down? The encounter ended in stalemate, Mr. Harlan leaving with a warning. Choices have consequences. Ethan, upon hearing, exploded in their room. "He came for you? After kicking you out?" The brothers argued, Ethan advocating reconciliation. "Maybe compromise." Bruno refused. "Compromise means erasing us." The rift widened, their once unbreakable bond fraying under pressure. Jamie's influence grew. He introduced Ethan to his family, a welcoming clan in Lincoln Park who hosted dinners filled with laughter and acceptance. Ethan envied it, confiding in Jamie, "I want this for us." Jamie kissed him softly, "Then fight for it." But fighting meant confronting the moral maze, loyalty to blood versus self-truth. Bruno, meanwhile, leaned on Liam. Their dates evolved from cautious to intimate conversations about dreams. Liam, a social work student, helped Bruno apply for scholarships, envisioning a future beyond survival. One evening, as they walked Navy Pier, waves lapping below, Liam confessed. I like you, Bruno. A lot. Bruno hesitated, then leaned in for a kiss, fireworks exploding overhead, literal and metaphorical. But guilt shadowed the joy. Was this timing a betrayal while Ethan struggled? Society's undercurrents surged when the brothers attended a pride event. Amid celebrations, a heckler shouted slurs, triggering Ethan's panic attack. Bruno shielded him, but the incident unearthed buried traumas, their father's words echoing. That night, Ethan broke down. I can't do this alone, Bruno promised. You're not. Yet alone they felt when Mrs. Harlan called Ethan, voice weak. Come home, please. I miss my boys. Ethan wavered, the pull of maternal love a siren song. He visited secretly, finding her frail, the house empty without them. Your father regrets, she whispered. Ethan returned conflicted, sharing with Bruno, maybe forgiveness? The decision point arrived at a family therapy session Ethan arranged covertly. Mr. Harlan attended reluctantly, the counselor mediating. Accusations flew. You favored Ethan, Bruno yelled. You rebelled, Mr. Harlan countered. Ethan mediated, but cracks showed. Mr. Harlan's homophobia rooted in his own repressed past, hinted at in vague stories. The session ended in tears, no resolution, but a chink in the armor. Post-session, Ethan chose to stay home temporarily, to bridge the gap. Bruno felt abandoned. You're leaving me? Ethan hugged him. Temporarily. For us. But the separation stung, Bruno throwing himself into work and Liam, while Ethan navigated home's minefield. At home, Ethan faced subtle manipulations. Church friends praying for him, Dad monitoring his phone. Jamie noticed the change during calls. You're pulling away. Ethan denied it, but the lie festered, a moral compromise eroding his soul. Bruno's world shifted when Marcus confided his own story. Disowned, then reconciled years later. Time heals, but only if you stand firm. Inspired, Bruno wrote a letter to his parents, pouring out pain and love. No response came, amplifying isolation. The turning point hit when Ethan discovered Dad's plan. Send him to a retreat, aka conversion camp. Horrified, Ethan confronted. This is abuse, Mr. Harlan defended. It's help. Ethan fled back to Bruno, bag in hand, the brothers reuniting in tears. I was wrong, Ethan admitted. No compromise. But the escape triggered backlash. Dad cut all ties, freezing college funds. The twins, now fully independent, faced harsh realities. Bills piling, dreams deferred. Liam and Jamie became anchors, forming a chosen family. Yet the cost weighed heavy, lost innocence, fractured bonds. As winter blanketed Chicago, the brothers reflected on their journey. Decisions' prices evident in weary eyes. Highs of love contrasted lows of rejection, setting stage for deeper conflicts. Snowflakes danced outside the window of their cramped apartment, now shared with makeshift furniture scavenged from sidewalks. Bruno and Ethan huddled over ramen, plotting their next moves. Ethan enrolling in community college, Bruno eyeing promotions. But beneath the practicality lurked emotional debris from the fallout. Ethan's relationship with Jamie hit turbulence. The secrecy at home had bred distrust. Jamie accused, You chose them over us. Ethan pleaded. It was temporary, but the argument escalated, Jamie storming out. Alone, Ethan questioned his choices. Was love worth the chaos? He confided in Bruno. Maybe I'm not ready. Bruno, drawing from his bond with Liam, advised, Fight for what matters. Liam proved steadfast, helping Bruno navigate financial aid applications. Their romance blossomed amid challenges. A picnic in Grant Park, sharing aspirations. Liam dreamed of advocacy. Bruno, coaching youth sports to empower kids like him. But family shadows loomed. Bruno's unanswered letter haunted him. Society's pressures amplified when a local news story broke. A teen suicide linked to family rejection. The brothers watched, hearts aching, recognizing parallels. "That could have been us," Ethan whispered. Motivated, they volunteered at the support group, sharing stories to help others. There, Bruno met a parent grappling with acceptance, mirroring their dad's struggle. The interaction sparked hope and anger. Mr. Harlan's silence broke via email. "We need space." Cryptic, it fueled Ethan's rage. "Space? After destroying us?" He drafted a response, but Bruno stopped him. "Let it simmer." Wisdom born from pain. Jamie's return came with conditions. No more hiding. Ethan agreed, introducing him to Bruno and Liam over dinner. The four formed a unit, laughter echoing, a balm for wounds. But jealousy flickered. Ethan envied Bruno's stability with Liam, while Bruno worried Ethan's impulsiveness. A major confrontation brewed when Mrs. Harlan showed up unannounced. Frail but determined, she knocked on their door, eyes welling. "I can't lose you both." The reunion was tearful. She apologized for complicity, revealing her own battles with Dad's rigidity. "He's scared of change, of judgment." Ethan softened, but Bruno remained guarded. Actions, not words. She stayed for coffee, stories flowing, childhood memories clashing with current pains. Her visit planted seeds of reconciliation, but Dad's absence spoke volumes. Post-departure, the brothers debated. "Forgive?" Ethan leaned yes. Bruno cautious. Moral dilemmas peaked when Ethan received an inheritance from a distant aunt. Enough for stability, but conditional on family ties. Accepting meant engaging Dad. Rejecting, prolonged struggle. "It's tainted money," Bruno argued. Ethan countered, practicality over pride. The decision tore them. Ethan accepted, using it for tuition, but the choice bred resentment. Bruno's promotion at the coffee shop brought independence, but isolation grew. Liam noticed. "Talk to me." Bruno opened up about twin dynamics, the unspoken competition, how Ethan's rescue felt like pity. Liam listened, offering perspective. Siblings evolve. Let go. Society intruded via a workplace incident. A customer spewed homophobic slurs at Bruno. He stood firm, but the shake lingered. Reporting it, he faced bureaucracy, highlighting systemic biases. Ethan, hearing, rallied support, organizing a small protest, their first public stand. The act empowered, but invited backlash, anonymous threats online, echoing Dad's views. Paranoia set in. They installed locks, vigilance constant. Romance provided solace. Ethan and Jamie reconciled fully, planning a trip. Bruno and Liam deepened. A weekend getaway to Wisconsin Dells. Nature's calm contrasting urban strife. There, Bruno confessed fears. "What if family never accepts?" Liam reassured. "We build our own." Upon return, a bombshell. Dad suffered a minor heart attack. Mom called, pleading return. The brothers rushed to the hospital, emotions swirling. Anger, concern, love. Dad, pale in bed, met their eyes. Boys. The moment hung, potential for breakthrough or deeper wound. Ethan grasped his hand first. "We're here." Bruno hesitated, then joined, a fragile truce. But recovery brought tests. Dad's vulnerability clashing with old prejudices. Conversations turned raw. "Why treat us differently?" Dad admitted fears, societal shame, his upbringing. "I was wrong," he murmured, a crack in the facade. Yet healing wasn't linear. Dad relapsed into judgment during therapy, frustrating progress. The brothers weighed staying versus leaving, each choice a gamble. As spring thawed the city, decisions crystallized, pushing toward climax where betrayals would surface and truths demand reckoning. The hospital room smelled of antiseptic and regret. Mr. Harlan propped up in bed, monitors beeping a steady rhythm. Bruno and Ethan sat vigil, the air thick with tentative hope. Mom fluttered about, grateful for their presence. but underlying tensions simmered. Dad's confession lingered. I pushed you away to protect the family image. Ethan probed. Protect? Or hide? The exchange unearthed layers. Dad's conservative roots in rural Illinois, where difference meant ostracism. Post-discharge, family dinners resumed awkwardly. Dad attempted civility, asking about jobs, but skirted orientations. Bruno tested waters. I'm seeing someone, Liam. Silence fell. Then Dad nodded stiffly. As long as you're happy. Progress? Or facade? Ethan brought Jamie to one dinner, the introduction charged. Dad shook hands politely, but later confided doubts to Mom. Overheard by Ethan. It's a phase. Betrayal stung. Ethan confronted. You haven't changed. Dad defended. I'm trying. The argument escalated. Ethan storming out, Bruno following in solidarity. Back in the apartment, they dissected. Is trying enough? Ethan torn between love and integrity. Jamie urged boundaries. Don't sacrifice yourself. Bruno agreed, but Mom's pleas pulled. Give him time. Societal mirrors reflected their strife. A bill in Congress for LGBTQ protections sparked debates. The brothers attended rallies, voices joining choruses for equality. There, Bruno spoke publicly for the first time, sharing their story to applause and empathy. Empowerment surged, but vulnerability exposed them to critics. A betrayal hit when a family friend, tipped by Dad, outed them to extended relatives. Calls flooded, support from some, condemnation from others. Aunt Clara disinvited them from holidays. Not in my house. The rejection reopened wounds. Ethan blaming Dad. Your trying caused this. Confrontation ensued at home. Dad admitted the slip. I needed advice. Bruno exploded. Advice? Or validation for your bias? Tears flowed. Mom mediated, urging understanding. But the damage prompted a family ultimatum. Full acceptance or permanent distance. Dad chose reflection, attending a PFLAG meeting alone. Returning changed, he apologized sincerely. I see the harm now. The brothers tested sincerity over weeks. Conversations delving into ethics, love's validity. Dad struggled but listened. A slow awakening. Romance anchored amid chaos. Liam proposed cohabitation. Bruno accepted, a step toward stability. Ethan and Jamie traveled, returning closer, dreams of future shared. Yet costs mounted. Bruno's job suffered from stress, a demotion looming. Ethan deferred classes, working extra. Physical tolls, sleepless nights, anxiety attacks reminded of sacrifices. Pivotal moment arrived at a family barbecue. Dad invited Liam and Jamie, a gesture of inclusion. Laughter mixed with awkwardness, but genuine moments shone. Dad asking Jamie about art, bonding over shared interests. Bruno watched, hope blooming, but shadows persisted. A heated discussion on marriage equality revealed Dad's lingering reservations. Tradition matters. Ethan challenged. Tradition of exclusion? The debate raged, ending in stalemate, but dialogue opened. As summer heated Chicago, the brothers reflected on growth. Decisions, prices, lost time, emotional scars, balanced by gains. Authenticity, chosen bonds. The final test came when Dad faced church scrutiny for supporting sin. He stood firm. My sons are not sins. The act, a ultimate sacrifice, risking community standing. Grateful, the twins embraced him. Forgiveness tentative but real. Yet, questions lingered. Was redemption earned? Or obligation? Healing continued, family reknitting threads. But societies we've remained frayed, pushing toward resolution where choices defined legacies. The Chicago skyline gleamed under the summer sun as the family gathered for a tentative picnic in Millennium Park. Blankets spread, laughter tentative but growing. Mr. Harlan passed sandwiches, his hands steadier post-recovery, eyes softer. Boys, I'm proud, he said unexpectedly. glancing at Bruno's promotion news and Ethan's art exhibit. The words, once unimaginable, hung like a fragile ornament. Yet undercurrents swirled. Mom beamed, but whispered worries about neighbors' gossip. Ethan, with Jamie by his side, shared glances of relief. Bruno, Liam's hand in his, felt a mix of gratitude and wariness. Society's acceptance wasn't universal. A recent hate crime nearby reminded them vigilance was key. As months passed, bonds strengthened. Dad volunteered at Pride events, awkward but earnest, facing old friends' judgments. "I lost my sons once. Won't again," he told critics. The sacrifice cost him alliances, but gained respect from the twins. Ethan's art flourished, pieces depicting family fractures and men's, exhibited locally. Jamie's support was unwavering, their love a testament to resilience. Bruno coached a youth soccer team, mentoring closeted kids, Liam assisting with resources. Their apartment buzzed with life, a haven. But reflections on the journey brought debates. Over dinner, Bruno mused, was coming out together worth the split? Ethan nodded. It forced truth. Dad interjected. I regret my reaction. Moral reckonings surfaced. Had favoritism been unconscious bias? Dad admitted yes, therapy revealing internalized homophobia. A final conflict arose when extended family pressured reconciliation on their terms. Attend church, pray away. The brothers refused, Dad backing them. Our family, our rules. The stand severed ties, a painful but liberating choice. As fall returned, circling the year's events, the twins stood stronger. Decisions prices paid in full, lost innocence for gained wisdom, isolation for community. In quiet moments, they pondered the ethics. Sacrifices for love, betrayals for growth. The story, woven with tension and awakening, left one lingering query. Was dividing the twins the family's gravest mistake, or the catalyst for true unity?